On today's episode of Titus and Tate, the Kansas Jayhawks. You remember the Kansas Jayhawks?
Yes.
The national champions. College basketball is defending national. Or are they?
Or are they? Should they give that to the North Carolina Tar Heels?
You remember, maybe, folks.
My 2013 champions, Michigan, in my book.
Oh, okay, yeah, because Louisville.
That's how I do it.
Folks,
historically.
you might remember when Kansas won the national title, there were some people, certainly not us, but there were some people out there that were like, I don't want to rain on the parade, but this program is facing 5 level 1 violations. Yes. Directly tied to the FBI case.
The former Yahoo boys were up in arms.
Yeah, this is a little weird that we're exalting Kansas at a time when
the IARP that is so vaunted and respected is investigated.
Right. Yeah. But I got bad news for the haters, for the Yahoo boys. All the haters out there that were hoping Kansas would have to take down the banner. It is not happening because Bill Self has stepped up, fallen on the sword, and
dare I say self-imposed
a ban. This was the news this week that Bill Self was not recruiting in June and July because of the cloud hanging over the Kansas program. So it was a self-imposed punishment. I think if you're the NCAA, if you're the IARP, if you're the AARP even, I think they might be investigating this at this point.
How old is Bill Self?
I think you have to look at this and say that is more than enough punishment. Your hands are clean. Let's move on.
Let's move on. The time has passed. It's been 5 years.
No, in all seriousness, Bill Self did. Kansas apparently was not recruiting. That's the big news in college basketball. Is Kansas did a self-imposed play on words, pun intended.
And everyone was asking this at Peach Jam because they kept saying, "Where are the national champions?"
Right.
So there was a kind of a rumor mill going around, like there must be something going on. So now we have official word.
We have official word,
self-imposed,
that Kansas is trying to circumvent level 5 or the 5 level 1 violations by Bill Self taking a 2-month vacation.
Yeah. He should have gone to the Gigi Jackson announcement. I think that would have been great. Like, he doesn't go to anything else, but he just shows up at the announcement.
He's got
next to Greg Gard.
Yeah, he's just got a cigar in his mouth that he's smoking, and everyone's been trying to tell him to put it out, and he just like won't put it out.
And then he does the Cam Newton, like shakes his head and walks out. Like, okay.
Speaking of Peach Jam has come and gone. If you missed it, don't worry. So did we. We're gonna give you an update on what you missed in the world of Peach Jam. Tate's gonna go through his new updated recruiting rankings.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll pull out his crystal balls. I don't know. Maybe we'll take a look at like where some of these guys are going. I saw a number 3 guy is down to Kentucky and Tennessee. He's announcing tonight on CBS. I forget the dude's name. I'll know it after he commits tonight. And
yeah, me too. I'm gonna wait until he commits, and then I'm gonna know it.
Yeah, he's gonna commit to Kentucky, and we'll talk about it on the next show and be like, "What does this mean for Kentucky?" And then you're gonna say, "I think they might be back."
And the cycle.
We might touch on a little Peach Jam stuff. Gigi Jackson, as Tate said, is officially reclassifying, is officially a Gamecock. There is that. Also, the old media versus new media debate rages on, Tate. We have Jerry West fighting with JJ Redick.
Finally,
Jerry West has joined the contingent of plumbers that you and I are on. You're on Team Plumber, right?
Yeah, I'm a plumber.
I'm a plumber as well.
Yes.
Jerry West has joined our side fighting against JJ Redick. We have in the battle of old versus new media, we have Draymond Green versus himself. Where he's
I've
just
never
talking
seen
himself
someone
in circles about comparing.
Contradict himself, saying you should never compare eras. That's what the new media does. Meanwhile, yes, we would beat the Jordan Bulls.
Big time OJ, if I did it, energy from Draymond with his like, I don't compare eras, but if I did.
Here's my thought.
Here's how I see it. And then we have our colleague at Fox, Nick Wright, just debating the entire universe, putting Michael Jordan at number 3 on his rankings, giving us a little. Did you see this?
Giving
us a little fodder in this late July when we're in a down
when this
period
was
of
happening. He reached
stuff
out to some people that were close to Michael Jordan, asking them their thoughts on Nick Wright ranking him number 3, and never reached back out on this side. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Also, Kevin Durant might be going to Boston if you step in a time machine and go back a month ago. So maybe we'll talk about that because every other show is, even though it's definitely not happening. Yes. And that was like a month ago's news, but whatever.
Who cares? It's the Celtics.
All that coming up, but first,
Woody Durham.
All right, let's start with Bill Self, right? Kansas. Yeah. That is the
big news.
The big news in college basketball, which, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, if this happens, 2 months from now, I don't think I care whatsoever, but it is a bit of a content drought out there in terms of college basketball news. So this qualifies as news because I think the reason I care about it is less about what actually happened and more about the reminder that Kansas is facing 5 level 1 violations.
Yeah.
Because I did forget about that. I completely forgot. So
who didn't?
I saw the news that Bill Self wasn't recruiting anymore, and no part of me was like, oh damn, that's gonna really throw Kansas off on the recruiting cycle. Are they gonna miss out on some guys now? Are the defending national champions at a time when recruiting 5 stars, it's debatable whether you should even waste your time trying to recruit people at this point. Just hit up the transfer market.
No, hit up the best players.
Hit up the best players mid-game.
Yeah.
At halftime.
College basketball has gone back in time to say, you know what we like? Production.
Yeah.
I don't like potential.
Right.
The NBA is a game of potential.
So Bill Self taking, again, a 2-month vacation where he's just going to the beach and getting his tan on and just throwing back.
I see that gut in my head right now. Yeah. Sunglasses on, throwing back some beers. Yeah, he's having a good time.
That's all this man is doing. That doesn't register to me as important news, as news that's going to send ripples throughout college basketball, because John Shire's hitting the recruiting trail in a way that Bill Self is not. The only reason I cared about this is because I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. Kansas is...
Yeah, in case you missed it. Remember when we did that podcast where the FBI had a flow chart and they were
5 years ago. Yeah, it was 5 years ago.
5 years ago, they said, we know your game plan, and basically it's a wrap. We're going to get the bad guys in college basketball, a.k.a. the bag guys, B-A-G guys in
literally
college
5 years ago, 2017 was when that happened.
And now we still have Kansas, still outstanding, Arizona, still outstanding, different head coach. So they have moved and changed total regimes.
Right.
LSU, still waiting.
Different head coach, different regime.
Yep. But Bill Self is the one man standing that also has to answer for things that happened back in 2017. So that is the other part of this that's fascinating about Kansas, is that they kind of just held steady. You know what? When this came out, everyone's like, well, Kansas, Adidas. We've seen what happened to Rick Pitino. The hammer's got to come over here. And Bill Self said, Snoop Dogg, come here.
Snoop Dogg.
Come here. Come dance. And get this out of the way.
Snoop Dogg. Remember the video Bill Self made going through the record store with chains on? And
yes.
Thumbing through vinyl records.
I mean, it was the ultimate do something.
Yeah.
I dare you.
And then he won a national championship.
Yes.
With one of the worst teams he's had at Kansas.
And that's why he was laughing the whole time.
And weirdly, as I think about it, winning the national title actually helps. And the ones I know that we've taken away the Louisville banner, but that was more just for the memes. I think I really do think the NCAA looked at the whole situation at Louisville and was like, it would be pretty fucking funny if we took away their title. Right?
Well, they looked at the tattoo.
Yeah,
they saw the tattoo on Pitino's back, and they were like, "This is gonna be good."
They were like, "This is great content."
Yes, we cannot resist this content trap.
The classic Darren Rovell. I feel bad for Louisville fans, but this is tremendous content. That's why Louisville had their banner taken away. That's it. That's the only reason. I don't necessarily think sequels are never as fun. I don't think Kansas is going to have that happen. So I actually think that Kansas winning the title, on the one hand, it gives them more to lose. Now, if to be clear, this is not going to happen. I'm just doing a thought exercise here. If there's a world where the NCAA makes Kansas take down this year's banner, on the one hand, it's like, well, shit, we have more to lose now. It would upset Kansas fans more than if they say they had to put an asterisk next to I don't know, an Elite Eight appearance or something, So there's more to lose. But on the other hand, I don't think they're going to do that because they won the title. They're not going to do a sequel, Tate. They're not going to do a repeat of what they've already done because it's not good that's not funny content.
No.
What's funny content is Bill Self saying I'm going to tap my chest. That's my bad. You know what? Billy Preston, Silvio De Sosa, we were talking to Zion that we did do that. I'm sorry.
So that was us. But
I'm going to go on vacation.
Yeah.
And we'll call it even, right? That's funny. That's funny to me. And I think the NCAA should just drop the whole deal. I think Kansas should be fine now.
And the good thing for Kansas is that they're kind of in the middle of a transition period with the NCAA enforcement, right? They're trying to figure out what NCAA enforcement looks like.
Right.
And during this trial and error period of figuring out what this independent review process looks like, I think that Kansas and these guys, it's been so long that you're almost like, whatever. Just go ahead. Just keep going. Just do what you're doing. No big deal. And Kansas has never admitted any sort of fault or guilt. And in fact, when they sent their letter back, they were like, all of this is false and it's littered with lies, and we will fight it to the death. And that is, I think, if you're the NCAA, now you have to present and prosecute Kansas and bring up all.
That's too much effort.
It's too much money. It's too much effort, and they would rather just make money off Kansas winning basketball games. At the end of the day,
the enforcement branch of the NCAA is also going on vacation. Yeah. They're at the same resort. They're checking in at the same time with Bill Self, and they're just like,
they might not exist anymore. And there's probably a guy named Jeff D'Angelo that's like putting in his resume and is like, I'll take over that branch. I can handle that. That's what I do. But otherwise, if you're Kansas, this is more just bad PR. And at the end of the day, what does the NCAA investigation really do? It just creates a cloud over your program that hurts some of your recruiting. That is the biggest, harshest thing that really happens with these NCAA investigations.
But they won a national championship, so it's like,
who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
You know,
and MJ Rice, 5 stars coming in from Henderson, North Carolina. He didn't care.
I really do think in 2020, you're absolutely right that has been the case forever. I think now there's no such thing as an NCAA cloud. I really don't think.
That's what I mean. They're in the transition period of the enforcement in the NCAA, which it's
over.
The new enforcement is that there's no enforcement.
There's no enforcement.
Welcome to the Wild Wild
West. Everybody
West.
knows that. And I keep saying this, and you think I'm doing this to like get under your skin, maybe. I swear I'm not. North Carolina taught everybody that.
Yeah.
North Carolina really did lay out the blueprint.
We didn't the first time, but we did the second time.
The second time.
The first time we opened up all the books, and then we realized, oh, these guys are
not
inept.
Cooperate.
And the rule number 1 in the NCAA is prove it.
Yes.
I put it on you to prove, and the NCAA says, well, that would be a lot of work for us.
That is the lesson we learned over and over and over again. We just learned it with Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. They cooperated. They got hit for it. Don't cooperate. Never cooperate. Never talk to a cop.
Deny. As soon as you admit any inkling of guilt, it opens up the floodgates.
Yes.
So Bill Self in Kansas has said from the start, this is all false. This is all a lie. They do something like this to say, we'll give you a little bit of, hey, we're complying. And they have the ultimate cop-out, which is the NCAA has told them, if you talk about it publicly, then we have more violations that we're going to throw your way. Mm-hmm. So the Kansas can always go, sorry, can't talk about it. Even though it's been 5 years.
And I think the other thing North Carolina taught me, at least, and when some program out there has the balls to step up and give me a job, and I'm running the ship like I should be, Tate. I learned this lesson from North Carolina, which is drag it out as long as possible, because on the one hand you said it hurts recruiting. I think what it actually helps is that you can then make the case that the punishment should not be handed down to these kids that had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Exactly. So like, because even Kansas winning the national title this year, like if I came on this show today and was like very seriously arguing that Kansas's national championship in 2022 should be in jeopardy, every Kansas fan on earth would say that's unfair to the kids that had nothing to do with this. Ochai Agbaji had nothing to do with Billy Preston and Silvio De Sosa, and why should Christian Brown suffer for? And it's a great point. And then I go home and I look in the mirror and I'm like, why would I take this national championship away from these kids? It's about the kids, Tate. It's about the student athletes. Why would I do that? So if you don't kick the can down the road, then maybe the punishment comes when you still have guys on the roster who are like involved in that era of your program. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so kick the can down the road. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen in any of this. It's all funny.
And nothing's going to happen in Zion.
This is why nothing's going to happen.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the funniest part about this situation is that when you look into, like, there were a few people when this report came up, they're like, Kurt Townsend. Oh, that's the guy that was talking about Zion.
The Zion guy.
He's back. And it's like, yes, this stupid case that has started 5 years ago. It's the same case, and we get little crumbs of details along the way. But at the end of the day, it's obvious what happened here. We all know the game. But the same people that were going to call it out and say it's wrong, like a Jay Billis, for example, he's wearing an Under Armour shirt because he's also part of the game. It's a large brand play for everybody. Adidas is playing the same game as Nike, playing the same game as Under Armour. They played the same game as Converse that was playing it back in the day. I mean, we all know what's happening here. We understand what's happening at the pool, but everyone's running around like, what's going on
here? It's really like the exact same shit that goes on in the political sphere of just like, we got him now.
Yeah.
And like every political side of everything is whoever him is or her. Or,
got him. Got
oh, shit. This changes everything.
Yes.
Prison? Question mark.
Yeah, but then on the other side, it's like changes nothing.
Changes nothing.
And in fact, this actually helps our case.
That's how this whole show launched. Like I like to pretend that we would have been successful. Our show when we started it, the big thing that like helped us blow up was we were just like cackling at the FBI shit. Like that was, I mean, we would have, let's be honest. Like, look at us. We're handsome dudes that, know what we're talking about here, and everyone comes to the show for our picks.
Yeah. New media.
Yeah, we're new media. They love our bracket picks and our takes. We got the freshest takes out there.
And we don't compare eras.
But at the same time, if you're an outsider and you're like, the only reason those guys ever had any success is because they were at the right place, right time when the FBI stuff, and I wouldn't deny that because, man, that was such good content when in 2017. And it is hilarious 5 years later that nothing came of any of this. And nothing's going to come of any of this. And it's going to continue. Like I said, that is the playbook, is that Kansas is going to deny forever. The NCAA is going to run out of steam. The NCAA is going to dish out a punishment. Kansas is going to appeal it and say, that's too much. And the NCAA is going to be like, taking away one scholarship for 1 year is too much. And they're like, yes, that's too much. And then they're going to hang their head and drop their tail between their legs and say, we're sorry, and walk away, and nothing will happen. And that's it.
And what's crazy,
that's what's going to happen.
And this is all legal jargon, because at the end of the day, the NCAA and Kansas have agreed on one thing that is true. This is true. This happened. At least $100,000 was given to the families of 3 men's basketball players. Mm-hmm. Kansas and the NCAA agree that happened.
Yeah.
So, okay, that happened. But the only thing they're arguing is who is responsible for it.
But where did that money come from?
But like, it happened, and they both agree that it happened, and we all know that it happened. And it's just funny that like it's not that we're arguing that it didn't happen. We're arguing who is responsible for why it happened, and everyone is pointing at each other. And
everyone's pointing at Jeff D'Angelo.
Everyone's in on the same. Yeah,
Jeff D'Angelo doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Wasn't the whole point of like guys going to prison, like Gasnola and Merle Code and Book Richardson and like all these dudes that like wasn't the whole idea that they defrauded the universities? Wasn't that the basis of why they?
Yes.
It was preposterous. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying like I'm trying to understand the legal decision.
That's the legal conversation.
So
argument
the legal world has decided that these guys, that the universities were actually the victims.
Yes, even though they're benefiting from the play of these players that are obviously getting paid.
So there's a legal precedent that Kansas was actually a victim by getting 5 stars.
Yes, and then in the NCAA court, they are obviously the defendant. So in one court, in the real court, they are the victim. In the NCAA court, they are defendant, which goes to show you that we are living in an absolute insane world, which is why the NCAA has to change their whole enforcement, which is why Bill Self is sipping a pina colada, and he is thinking to himself, "Dadgummit, we did it."
Peach jam? No, I don't need no peach jam. I'm going to stay right here at this beach. More like beach jam for me.
Hey, Kurt, you hear that?
Kurt, you hear that? I said beach jam. And he's like, hold on, Bill. And he's got his headphones up. What'd you say? He's like, so what I said?
Yeah, he's talking to the number one. He's talking to Cooper Flagg. He's on the phone with Cooper Flagg.
Should we talk about peach jam? The answer is no, but in the interest of filling in our listeners, is there what stood like? I'll put it this way, because I know you weren't following peach jam at all. I wasn't either. But what trickled its way into your purview? Because I find that fascinating. Of like you're just living your life. You're hitting up the golf course on the weekend, Tate. But then somehow, like, some information leaks out from Peach Jam and comes into your purview. Did that happen?
Yeah.
There are a few things that did for me.
Yeah. I mean, number one on my list, which is comedy, because we've talked about on the show that I don't think he has any offers from anyone in college. But this weekend at the club, someone came up to me and said, "So where's Bronny James going to college?" And then I'm thinking to myself, at the club, this is what someone said to me. So where's Bronny James going to college? And I think that one of the reports I saw coming out of Peach Jam is that it is known amongst coaches and the people in the know that Bronny is not going to go to college. That is the big headline that I saw. So I've been dropping that on people.
But how can
Bronny is not going to go?
He's not going to go to college. But also, how can he use these colleges for his own personal gain right now? Because you don't want to come out and say, "I'm not going to college." So if you kind of tease, you got to lay enough breadcrumbs in enough direction, so that way When he does go, quote unquote, straight to the NBA, which is actually like a 2-way contract
on the Lakers.
On the Lakers,
yes.
And then ends up in the G League, and then whatever happens with his career from there, who knows? But then you can say I would have gone to 7 different schools.
Yes,
but
Ohio State,
Ohio
Duke,
State, Akron
for UCLA,
sure.
USC, Stanford.
Bronny James puts out a statement that says, if I would have gone to college, I would have definitely stayed home. And then everyone's like, Where's home?
Yeah, and then Miami's claiming it. They're like, you already know. Well, you know what's crazy about Bronny is that I think that he is smart enough to know and understand this system. The system works where, this kid gets an offer from Duke or Carolina or Kentucky or whatever, and then all these other people are like, oh, he's top guy, and then they all fawn over him. And he's not going to get any of those offers other than the Calipari, whatever offer that was. It says you got a Kentucky offer. I'm not sure it's there. So Bronny is saying, I'm not into you before you can say you're not into me. He's getting ahead of it, which I think is very smart. This is good. This is good brand play.
If Bronny James just came out and said that all these schools were offering him, does any school have the balls to
say no,
to publicly refute that?
Carolina would. For sure. I think Michael Jordan would write that press release.
Yeah, we never offered it. We did not have. And Jordan doesn't actually know. Like, Jordan doesn't even talk to Hubert.
No, he writes his own press release with a Jumpman logo at the bottom of it.
And then Hubert calls him and is like,
no, we would have taken it.
I don't know. He's like, we kind of would have taken it. He's like, no, we wouldn't have. No. Run the press release.
Do you want to be represented by Under Armour, Hubert? That's what he would said. Yeah.
I had 2 things other than Bronny. Number 1 was G.G. Jackson to South Carolina.
Yeah,
is done, but we already knew that, right?
Yeah, it was kind of just the known thing.
I've been hearing rumblings, Tate, and maybe you're more into. You should be certainly. This is more your domain, but I've been hearing rumblings that South Carolina is having some conversations with MJ, as in the Jordan brand, as in turning their back on Under Armour.
The SEC.
What do you think?
I mean, if you're an Under Armour school, you're trying to get out of that deal. We see that a lot with these Under Armour schools. Unless you're, Maryland. Obviously.
Follow the UCLA game plan.
Go from Under Armour.
Force majeure your way out of Under
Say
Armour.
that you lied to me. Say that I'm the victim.
Yes.
Like Kansas did in the Adidas deal.
Yes.
Get out of your
I made $100 million from you, and I'm the victim.
Yes. Thank you for the checks, but I don't work for you anymore. Now that I don't see any value in you, I don't want to play with you anymore. It's like Andy with Woody. I don't want to play with you anymore. I think it would be a good move for Jordan Brand, and I also think that, North Carolina, South Carolina, let's just make it a rivalry again. After this whole G.G. Jackson thing, I think Carolina fans...
Are they playing? Are you guys playing?
No, we're not, but I think we should.
You should.
I think we should.
Yeah.
I think this is the year, maybe late December, you play South Carolina. You play G.G. Jackson. You schedule the game.
G.G. Jackson's this year, right?
Yeah,
he's going to be a freshman this year. So
you take the number 1 team in the country and you say, we'll play you anywhere. Maybe we'll play a neutral site game in Charlotte.
You're 100% playing G.G. Jackson the second round of the tournament.
That's what I think.
The 8-9 game. You're not going to play him. It's going to be 8-9 game with like.
And then South Carolina, if South Carolina makes
South
the tournament,
Carolina loses.
It's really on South Carolina. Make the tournament.
South Carolina is going to be a 9 seed. The 8 seed's going to be like.
New Mexico State.
Yeah. And everyone's going to be like, holy shit, G.G. Jackson
versus Carolina. And then New Mexico State beats them by 25.
Yes. Exactly.
Someone pull this clip.
Exactly. Play this back when this happens. So there's G.G. Jackson. I saw he called himself a hometown hero in his Twitter post, which those hashtag hometown hero. So
I love hometown heroes. So
yeah,
I can't hate on it.
But also, dubbing yourself a hometown hero.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's tough.
You got to let the other hometown people, locals, call you a hometown hero.
Yeah, yeah. I think the troops are the hometown heroes.
Me too.
For me. And I think this is
and the firemen.
This is in the firemen.
Love the firemen.
Hero power. We should do a show. That's some off-season content. Hero power rankings, and you put the troops like just to put the graphic out there, and just like that's how you stir up controversy.
Mm-hmm.
You put the troops at number 4.
I think number 1 hero for me, teachers.
Number
1. Number 1 hero.
I have moms at number 1.
Ooh.
The hardest job.
I think mom's
the
number
hardest
2 for
job.
me. Yeah, number 2 for me. Sorry to moms.
You put dads above moms.
All right, we'll get that top 5.
So the GG Jackson stuff was we saw it coming, but it's official now. It's officially official.
It's good for South Carolina. I mean, it's good for, and at the end of the day, I hope that GG Jackson is a transcendent enough player to make them relevant to the conversation. Right. The worst thing is that you have a Kentavious Caldwell-Pope situation.
I need to talk to all the recruiting people, and I think you should get. I was thinking about having this system with my group of friends, which I might do a soft launch with you and Jim on this idea that you get 3 shows or 3 things you're interested in that you tell me that I have to check out. You get 3 things a year, Tate. That like if you say to me, have you seen the show The Bear? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of it. You're like, I have to check it out. And I'm like, all right, Tate, listen, this is going to be one of your 3 though. Like if you use this,
that wouldn't be one of my 3.
You only got
it's all right.
You know what I mean? You only get 2 more. Like because I'm not going to watch every show that you're trying to shove in my face. But if you tell me this is worthy of one of your 3,
The Old Man. That's
all right. Well, then lock it in. Like that's worth one of your 3. I need that from recruiting services.
Okay.
Where like we have so many 5-stars, so many number 1 guys. I need like guys to step up, and I want to tell them you get 3 people each year where you say this guy is transcendent. If this guy does not make the NCAA tournament, like you could put him on the worst team in the country and they're going to make the NCAA tournament. I'm going to use one of my 3 picks on GG Jackson, say. And then I'm like, okay, now you have my attention. But when you say he's a 5-star, when you say, like, should he be a number 1, it all gets lost in the sauce. And I'm just like, wake me up in January. And let me see where South Carolina's at then.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of people say that their knock on GG is that he's not great in the half court. And whenever I hear someone say someone's not great in the half court, that makes me think that they're not developed.
That means they're not good at basketball.
Yeah, exactly. I know. But I try to give the benefit of the doubt. But that's honestly the worst thing as a Carolina fan. When someone told me he's not great in the half court, I was like, well, he should definitely not come to Carolina.
What a great criticism. He's not great in the half court. That was the knock on me. I was not great in the full court or the half court.
Yeah. I mean, we all know what that means. It's like, okay, so he can't play basketball.
Have you ever heard anybody say he's not great in the full court, but he is great in the half court? That's like Peyton Pritchard, I guess.
Colin Gillespie. Colin Gillespie is amazing in the half court. Not so great in the full court. We don't want to get in an up and down game with Colin.
Not great in the half court. That's basketball. What are we talking about?
That was a scouting report I was giving on him. So immediately I was like, if Roy Williams was the coach, people just would be killing him if GG Jackson went to Carolina. Then he struggled in the half court, and people were like, Carolina if doesn't develop wings. You know what I mean?
Well, if he came to Carolina, he could run the secondary break and
in the full court.
In the full court. Now we're playing in the full court, GG.
Not anymore.
What about the 3/4 court? So there was that, and then the other thing I wrote down from Peach Jam was. It was brought to my attention. Cooper Flagg, a guy we talked about last week.
2025.
Went up against Carlos.
15 years old.
Carlos Boozer's kid.
Who's also top 3 player.
Yeah. And it was a showdown of 2 number 1 ranked recruits in the class of 2025. Is that true?
15-year-olds, yeah.
Oh my God.
We know too much about 15-year-olds.
Oh my God. Cooper Flagg, I assume this is true. I don't know. I Googled it and hit enter and then looked it up. You can fact check this if you want. Cooper Flagg was down 17-0 to start this game against Carlos Boozer's kid and lost by 43 points. I believe that's true.
Cooper Flagg got embarrassed?
Cooper Flagg lost by 43 points to Carlos Boozer's kid. Jim, look this up. Can you look this up, or is that too much? Is that too hard to figure out? You don't have to.
Too much.
That's all right. That's fine.
43 points?
I'm pretty sure he lost
by 40. So
Cooper
Flagg is done.
That's what I'm thinking, dude. That's what I'm thinking. This is going to, fast forward 3 years from now when we're talking about Cooper Flagg, because he's committed to Duke and he's coming into Duke. We're doing our preseason show heading into that season. I am definitely going to bring up that he lost by 43 points in an AAU game. And not just an AAU game, like the AAU game. The big showdown, the Peach Jam showdown, 2 15-year-olds going at it. All the NBA scouts are there.
Yeah, I am taking all of my stock that I had in Cooper Flagg, and I want to, on this podcast right now, everyone to hear this. I am taking all of it, and I am moving it to TJ Power. It is all a great name. It is all in TJ Power. That is who I want to come to North Carolina. That is where all my eggs are in one basket right now.
TJ
Power.
I got it right here. Jeff Borzello, who's blue check mark. He knows what he's talking about.
Shout out to Borzello.
He's ESPN, right?
Yeah.
ESPN guy, yeah. Cameron Boozer won this matchup. Nitritis, I guess might be their Cameron Boozer's team name.
Okay.
Over Maine United by 43 points. Boozer just physically overwhelmed Cooper Flagg, finished through him in the post, ran the floor, owned the glass. John Shire, Juwan Howard, Penny Hardaway, Kenny Payne, John Calipari among those here. How does John Shire get first billing in that, by the way?
Thank you.
You're listing all the coaches that were there. John Shire's first?
You told me that we're going to do pecking orders. Well, how is this guy not at the bottom of that list of guys? John Calipari got like the John Calipari treatment there at least.
Juwan Howard's second, by the way. Like how is there's one man that won a national title in this whole rundown. He's listed fifth.
Penny Hardaway should be first there.
Yeah.
Come on.
Kenny Payne, I mean, look, all right, whatever. But point is, yeah, there you go. So if that's in fact incorrect, blame it on Jeff Borzello because it says right here that Cooper Flagg lost by 43 in a.
I will say Cooper Flagg playing on Maine United or whatever is really tough.
Cameron Boozer outscored Cooper 20 points to 13, and he had 12 boards. Cooper Flagg had 7, but the other Boozer kid. Flagg outscored and had more boards then. So
is the other are they twins?
Yeah, they're twins.
They're twins,
Mm-hmm.
but there's one that's much better than the other.
Yeah, Caden had 10 points and 5 boards.
I love
Cooper
that.
Flagg had 13 and 7. Still 13 and 7.
I am. If there's a panic button in front of me, Cooper Flagg panic button.
You're waving the red flag.
I pressed it and I dumped all. Everything is in TJ Power now.
The white flag. Is
yes,
that
yes,
that...
yes. That should be his nickname.
That's his nickname.
Yeah. People are like, you want to see the white flag? You know that's a win. TJ Power.
Maine United was waving the white flag.
I mean, playing on Maine's team has to be tough too, you know? Right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What's his team?
If it's a rowing competition or something, he's going to kill the Boozer brothers, I tell you that.
Yeah, equestrian competition.
Fly fishing.
Yeah, cricket.
Sailing.
Yeah, any of those. Not basketball.
Skiing, Maine.
Here for the big showdown between two 15-year-olds. What an insane world we live in.
Yeah.
I say out loud as I could not be more excited for the Little League World Series to be back this year.
I also enjoy watching all the coaches that are there during Peach Jam. Just like the little snapshots you see. Like I saw Chris Holtman there, saw Mike Bray there, Greg Gard. You know what I mean? You just kind of like look in the crowd and you're like, oh wow, our guys, they're out there.
It's a who's who.
Yeah, they're on the road.
Should we? What would it take for you to go to Peach Jam? To cover it seriously, like in the way that I mean, I think there's a world where I go like it's NBA Summer League and we're like we're boots on the ground and we're just kind of like jokingly telling stories, but like we're actually not paying any attention to anything going on.
Yeah,
we're just kind of trying to get
I think layup lines would really hurt me. I think I would watch layup lines of these kids, and then I would form opinions, and that would really hurt. You know, the actual coverage of the games, right? Because I'm watching Cooper Flagg do 360 dunks in the layup line, and I'm like, okay, he's athletic enough.
You're saying you're not the body language doctor, but you did study under him.
Yes, and I know layup lines.
You know this.
I look at a layup line, and I know who's who there.
Those are my big Peach Jam notes, though. Cooper Flagg got destroyed by what's the good one's name? Jim Cameron Boozer.
Mm-hmm.
Cameron's
Caden's
good.
The other one.
Caden is the other one.
By the way, I just looked.
I want both to go to Duke.
I looked up best basketball players from Maine ever.
Let me guess. I don't have anybody actually. No one's coming to mind.
No one's.
Number 2 is someone named Jeff Turner.
Okay. Jeff Turner played at.
You know who's number 1?
I think.
Please hit us.
Some guy named Duncan Robinson.
He's from Maine?
He's number 1?
Mm-hmm. The greatest player ever out of Maine.
I didn't know he was from Maine.
York, Maine.
How do we not know? I thought he was from New Hampshire.
Yeah, I think I get him confused. But
I think Maine
at the end of the day, like that's a good thing to hang your hat on. If you're Duncan, we should tell him to put that like on his website. Best basketball player ever from Maine.
Is that something to brag about?
He's the Maine.
Wait. Is this true? Duncan's from Maine?
I mean, that's like a good thing.
No, he went to high school in New Hampshire, but he was born in Maine. Yeah. So there you go. That's
so he's New Hampshire.
Yeah.
He's New Hampshire.
How do you decide where you're from?
It's where you're raised. My opinion.
What does that mean though?
It's like you can be born in a place, but if you lived and grew up and were raised in a place, I think that means more than where you were like technically.
But like, what if it was like, because there's a like I moved to town over when I moved to Brownsburg when I was in 6th grade, so you can make an argument I was like raised in the other town. I mean, I'm still from Hendricks County, Indiana, but like
I think
it starts to get a little dicey.
You stick with the county at that point.
Yeah, just say the county.
Just like you grow your. your
I don't know.
space.
I don't know what the cutoff is there. We'll have to have Duncan on and ask him like where all of his landmark things happened in life. Like, when did you grow your pubes?
Well, there's
what state were you in when that happened, Duncan?
There's a
Who's the best player in New Hampshire history?
He's the only NBA player to be born in Maine. Was Duncan Robinson.
Duncan Robinson is the only NBA player to be born in Maine.
That's what this says.
All right. Well, there you go. Cooper Flagg.
It also says Sam Cassell went through Maine and Katina Mobley, but then I looked that up and it says Rhode Island, so I don't know. They're all like the same.
Yeah, they're all the same. It's all the same. Best basketball players from New Hampshire, Will Barton.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Is Duncan better than Will Barton?
Yeah, but think about what Cooper Flagg was dealing with on his team.
I know.
After all of this. I mean, he was playing the Boozer kids and everything.
This is great off-season content is we do best – we take the guys who are the best players from their states. Like for example, like Larry Bird from Indiana, Michael Jordan from New York.
Yep.
Take guys like that and then figure out who has the best players from each. We rank them. We start at like –
New York.
50.
We have Michael Jordan.
New York would be number one. Michael Jordan and Kareem both.
Christian Laettner
is from New York. Yeah.
Was Coach K born in New York?
Oh God.
God Shamgod? Is that what you're talking about? Because he's also from New York.
Who would North Carolina's best player be? Because Vince Carter's from Florida too.
Right.
So he's not even a real guy. I don't. Sean May is from Indiana, so that doesn't count. Eric
Sean
Montres
May
is from Indiana. I don't even know anybody.
I don't think anyone's from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cedric Maxwell, Finals MVP for all the kids at home. All the people that don't know any plumbers. Gastonia, North Carolina. Big Game James, the biggest star in Los Angeles. North Carolina,
Shaq?
Gastonia.
Biggest star in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Big Game James, anywhere you go.
Kobe was drafted by the Hornets. So that's kind of
wanted to play at North Carolina or Duke.
Or Duke, which is North Carolina.
You decide. Whichever one.
So that kind of counts. Yeah, we'll count that one. All right, let's do a little new media, old media talk because I have no idea what the hell this is still. I mean, we touched on it a little bit during the NBA playoffs and the finals when Draymond was popping off about new media and new media is basically just JJ and Draymond, right?
Yes,
like,
in their mind. Are
there any other guys that are like adopting the new media? Like
Jesus and Mero. They're also new media. Anna Kendrick
one
is new media.
One was old media.
Who else is?
Jesus was new media. Mero was old media.
Mero's on our side. He's a plumber.
That's why they got in a fight. That's why they broke up.
Yes. They were arguing what side they should be on of the picket fence. I think those are the only people though.
What's the Anna Kendrick thing?
I know she's friends with all them, so she's got to be new media.
Right.
If you're friends with Tommy Alter, you're new media. Right. So are we new media? That's the question. Tommy wants us, or does he? It's probably not.
I'm left more confused. So, Jerry, what do you think this will ever end? As I guess my first question is like as I settle in and look at the horizon and calculate how much life I have left on this planet and how many years I have left in the takes business, the basketball takes business. I'm wondering aloud, Tate, will there ever be a time where a dude with gray hair isn't like asked by somebody, "Did you hear what this guy said about your hair?" And he's like, "Huh? What'd he say?" He's like, "He said y'all suck." And he's like, "Well, you bring him here right now and I'll kick his ass." And then us talking heads then take that and talk about it for the next week.
Yeah.
Will there ever be a time where that's not the case? Because I don't think there will. I think this is what we're destined forever. I think this is how basketball works. I don't know what it is about basketball that makes it different from every other sport. Why basketball is the only one that deals with this. Baseball, I don't really think like baseball. There seems to be an appreciation for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. Right?
I don't know what happened in basketball, but it did seem like there used to be a passing of the baton, that used to be kind of understood. But somewhere along the line, the baton never got passed. And then every single other person from the past started arguing about their present and what they did in their time. And then we just got and then with NBA TV and the Players Lounge, right, it just started creating, and Charles Barkley and TNT, it's like you started just creating this conversation, which is basically like these current guys don't get it. We get it. But there was no sharing of what we get. The knowledge wasn't shared.
Now that I think about it, baseball is the opposite. Like baseball, there's a reverence for every old guy. I mean, like you don't hear these baseball dudes talking shit about Babe Ruth being.
No, could you imagine right now? Aaron Judge he's on pace to break Roger Maris's record of 61 home runs right now. which I don't know why no one's talking about that. It's pretty amazing to me. But Aaron Judge is not going into press conferences like Roger Maris sucks.
Yeah.
And Babe Ruth sucks. And Mickey Mantle sucks. And I'm so much better than them. Look how much the game has evolved. Look how much more talented and athletic and great I am compared to bum-ass Roger Maris.
Right.
Like, that's not what he does.
Mookie Betts is like Jackie Robinson, bum. Bum.
Yeah, played against plumbers.
Yeah, played against plumbers. Put me... If I was the only black dude playing against a bunch of white dudes, I'd smoke them too.
This is what happens in basketball.
That's the equivalent of what's going on in basketball.
Yes.
And so in that regard, on the one hand, I guess the part of me that wants to say I guess I sort of agree that as time goes by, the athletes get better, whatever. So whatever argument you're trying to make there, cool.
Yeah.
But why are we having this argument again? JJ and Draymond, who's not comparing eras, but if we were to compare eras, here's where I stand with where the eras. If we were to compare eras, my teams that I've been on would kick everyone else's ass.
Yeah.
But I don't. But for me personally, I don't compare eras. And also, the reason my teams are so good, I'm like the 5th best player on my teams that win these championships. But also, I don't compare eras.
Look, if you don't understand Twitter, you do understand context, and this is back-to-back tweets that Draymond Green put out, and this is the perfect example of what we're talking about. Draymond said, question, ellipses, when they be comparing eras, are they taking into consideration the drastic differences in style of play? Regardless of the answer, it's very dumb to compare one era to the next era. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Great point.
Great point, Draymond.
Great tweet.
Great point.
The next tweet. I'm watching the 98 Bulls versus Utah in the finals. Can't help but notice our 2017 team would have beaten these Bulls by a dub and these Jazz by 40 if they're going to play these brands of basketball. And that's why it's dumb to compare.
That's why we don't do it.
That's why we don't do it.
That's why we simply don't do it.
After doing it. And I literally, my brain was broken. I was in a puzzle. I was in a pretzel. And I didn't know what to do. What do I say to this?
Well, I like how you worded it. I can't help but notice. It was I have no choice but to notice.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm trying not to notice.
I'm looking.
I got blinders on. I'm walking through my house trying not to.
Meanwhile, he put on the 98 Bulls game against the Jazz. That's not on TV. It's like you sought this out.
That was the way Greg Doyle worded the Dan Dakich article where he's like, I didn't want to do this, but I had to.
Yes.
My hands were tied.
Literally.
No, the Draymond part of it, the Jerry West, all of this is stupid, and obviously we're just talking about it because it's July and
it's nothing else going on.
Works, but I'm just fascinated by it because it's what led to this point in basketball that made this. I don't think it happens in football either. I really don't. I think the old guys they don't care. I mean, maybe I don't pay enough attention, but I don't think Terry Bradshaw is trying to tear down Tom Brady because hurts his legacy.
Or Shannon Sharp, for example. I don't ever see Shannon Sharp talking bad about tight ends today.
But then the flip side, there's not the guys that are playing in the NFL aren't also talking about how Jim Brown was a bum and if it's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball is the only sport that this happens, and it drives me crazy because I don't know how we got here. Is it just that we need off-season content in basketball in a way that the other sports don't, I guess?
I think it's also basketball was in a really bad spot, right? The league was in a really bad spot. There was even 2 leagues at one point. They come together. They have to because there's not that much money. Then basketball becomes popular, shoots to the moon, Magic, Bird. We know the story, Michael Jordan, all these guys. And then now basketball continues on that same lineage. They reap all the rewards of these guys who came into a league that was terrible, but then was made popular. But then the players that made it popular never really got the, monetary benefits of their popularity for the most part. Then the guys who, quote unquote, didn't make it popular, that are making it less popular, are making all this money, and they're saying, deal with it.
Right.
And they're also mad because they're like, these guys who should have given us game and taught us how to do this didn't, because they're mad and jealous of us.
Right.
So it's like a
you're just jealous that we make more money than you, and it's you're damn right I'm jealous.
Yeah. Spencer Haywood's I am jealous. Yes.
I built this shit.
They didn't want me to play in the league.
Yeah.
And you're talking shit to me. You're and you get that side too, and you get the current players' side because they're like, why are all these guys mad at me? Why are you mad, bro?
Yeah.
And then it comes new media versus old media, when really it's just a conversation that has to be had at some point where we're all we love this game. The game is what really brings us all together. That's why the 75th anniversary I thought could have been something like that, But for whatever reason, instead everything is insular and everyone has their own conversation.
It all comes back to Michael Beasley. He has to be basketball Jesus that steps up and brings everyone together.
And has a pickup game, a one-on-one pickup game.
One-on-one pickup game. Yeah. Jerry West versus J.J. Redick.
Yeah.
J.J. Redick. No. Here's what it is. We find a plumber out there, like a guy who's literally a plumber right now, that can hoop, and he plays J.J. Redick one-on-one.
Yes.
On television.
On TNT. The match.
Yeah.
The match.
The match. It is the match. It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. I would watch that 100%. And Jerry West is reffing it.
Yeah.
So Jerry West didn't see anything. Didn't see anything. JJ's getting elbowed.
Pulls out the lead pipe. The plumber with the pipe. Hits him in the leg. Tanya Hardin, bitch.
Old school versus new school. You know what I mean? It's just going to be a fair, tough, hard-fought game out there. And we'll watch. We'll all watch. I don't know what Draymond's end game is, though. To answer the original question, what is the end game here? I don't know what the end game is.
I think it goes back to something we were talking about when we were first hitting on this during the playoffs. With JJ and Draymond, like they're a breath of fresh air, and they had like JJ out of the gate had 100%
approval rating. Yeah,
and it was such a breath of fresh air. This whole this industry, it's just all about takes, and some of these guys just be going on TV and they'll just say whatever. And thank God JJ Redick,
not letting that slide.
He doesn't let that slide. He'll come in with facts. He'll destroy them with facts and logic. Tate. Some of these cats are on TV just talking with feelings, but not JJ. He's got facts. He's got logic. That was the idea behind J.J. Redick. But you and I were both like, you better be careful.
Yes, because those facts and logic can get emotional real quick.
Yes, and
because everybody else has also got facts and logic.
And if you're going to Reddit if you're going to the NBA Reddit to get your talking points, those 14-year-olds are fickle. Man. They'll flip flop like what they love and don't love,
and they'll change. They'll change.
Yeah. They'll change their views. So if you're googling NBA Reddit enter before you're going on TV and saying like, what are the kids saying? Let me say that on television so I get upvotes.
If you don't think Tyrese Halliburton's a top 25 guard, you don't watch the game.
You just simply don't understand the game. And in fact, I don't think you should ever be able to talk about the game.
Meanwhile, the Kings are like, we don't care. Get this guy off my team.
We said there's going to be a point where you say the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person, and maybe it's happened with the plumbers. I don't know, because Jerry West seems fired up about it, and Jerry West has more cachet in the NBA, I would say, than JJ Redick.
And Jerry West killed him the right way. Like when there's someone that's speaking,
right.
Like most people say that they stood on the shoulders of giants when they talk about any profession that they're in. Like that's what I would say about our profession. We're standing on the shoulders of giants.
You can say, I wouldn't say it. I would say that I created all of this. This is me. I'm the greatest. And
yes, but that is the argument that we're dealing with. You know what I mean? It's like people that don't even have that appreciation for the giants that built where we are today. And for Jerry West to even have to address that is insane to him, probably. Yeah. He's like, you're asking me about what J.J. Redick thinks? I forgot J.J. Redick played in the NBA, in Jerry West's mind. So the fact that he had to address that, but the way that he did it, I think, was so proper, where he was like, look, I know he's a smart guy, but let's just be honest. There's a lot of people that average 12 points a game in this league, and I don't give a damn what they think. So why do I give a damn what he thinks? And that is the right approach if you are a giant, which Jerry West is a giant.
I do think as more time goes by, we are going to trend more and more towards your own. Like if you average more points at a higher level, you win the argument.
I agree,
and I think that's how it should be. And I say this is a guy that averaged. What did I average?
Well, this was the Skip Bayless thing, right? Who went on there? Someone went on with Skip Bayless. It might have been like Ocho Cinco way back in the day, and was like, you averaged 2.6 points per game in high school.
I averaged 0.3 at Ohio State, but they were allowed 0.3, to be fair. Yeah. They were very loud 0.3.
And if you look at it the right way, it might be 3.0.
Dude, you look at my per 40, though, I was averaging 7.5 points per game per 40. 4.2 fouls, so I was getting my money's worth out there too. I was playing physical brand of basketball,
exactly.
And I think the
put yourself out there.
The kids these days that are coming up these days, they wouldn't be able to handle my physical brand of basketball, where I was averaging 4 fouls per 40 minutes. I was getting after it.
Different game,
dude. In 2007, I averaged 4.4 blocks per 40 minutes.
Yeah,
it's insane, dude. That's it. Is that Anthony Davis numbers?
It's also smart. If you're going to get in these conversations, to not have played in the NBA and not have a points per game, Like if you're J.J. Redick, it almost would be better if he was like Zach Lowe saying this, right? Because then what is Jerry West going to say? He's just some nerd,
Yeah.
But still at that point, you're like, well, the nerd might be right. But when he says you average 12 points a game in the same league that I played in and I'm the logo, you're like, all right, you win.
You ready for this? Zion Williamson per 40 minutes at Duke. His freshman year. This is freshman year to freshman year. This is a direct comparison. My freshman year at Ohio State, Zion Williamson freshman year at Duke. He averaged per 40. Where is it? I just had it. Per 40, 2.4 blocks per game. I averaged 4.4. Print that. Where are we printing it? I don't know, but print it.
Put it on your website.
Put it out there. Per 40, I averaged 11.1 points per game. Oh my God, dude. 2.2 steals. Okay.
See, this is how advanced stats started. This is how it started. It was the guy that was not playing. It was like,
so basically,
but if you put me out there during this amount of time, here's what
I'm saying is I should be allowed to talk about basketball at a level that Zion Williamson should not be able to. Like if Zion and I got into a discussion about defense, I should.
My thoughts.
Zion, sit this one out.
Yeah. Take a seat, Zion. Let the pro talk.
Anthony Davis averaged like 5.8 per 40. By the way,
I was
excited about. Per 40 minute, 5.8 blocks per 40, but he only 1.7 steals. So what's more important, blocking shots or stealing? I don't know. A different discussion for a different day. All right, we can move on. Should we shout out, close out, get the hell out of here? Is there anything to shout out?
I mean, I think so. I'm just trying to think about where we land on old media versus new media.
Where's Nick Wright in all this? Where does Nick Wright putting out his top 50 players and having MJ at 3, and then just kind of dropping a bomb on everybody and then stepping back and saying, I'm going to let you guys sort it out, but also here's how I see it. I think he's worked himself into a shoot. I really do. Is he here? Is he on the lot?
Yeah, I don't know, but
Could someone in the back double check if Nick's on the lot, and if he is, get him up here, because I'd love to talk to him about all this.
Yeah, I think he obviously was trying to get attention, right? There's the only, that's really the only
right
reason for this. But I also respect that at least, he's going for it, right? And he's going to have to fight. He's going to have to fight through the mud, He's going to have a lot of people coming at his neck. And let's be honest, we all know what he's doing. He's going to put LeBron number 1.
Well, that's my problem. That's what I'm worried about.
Number 2 and LeBron number 1. And then he's going to argue that LeBron could average 16 points per game next year and break Kareem's record. He's number 1 in steals. He's number 1 in this. He's number, and then you're like, okay. This guy seems.
But I feel like he's worked himself into a shoot, because the logic for having Kareem above MJ, which I'll listen to. If you're gonna do Kareem above MJ, you're wrong. But make your case and I'll listen to it, because sure. I don't want to disrespect Kareem. I don't want, if you come to me and you're like, I think Kareem's the best player ever, I don't want to cackle laughing, because then that's disrespectful to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So I'll listen to it. But the problem is, I think why he worked himself into shoot, Tate, is because I don't whatever logic you're using to put Kareem above MJ has to then put Kareem above LeBron, right? I don't know. I'm worried about a guy, because I think
none of this. Yeah. Well, the thing that I hope that happens.
He also had Luka at 20, and Jokic is not in his top 50, so there is that as well.
That is the dumbest thing. I did not know that. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Wow, that should throw the list away.
Nick,
but
where are you?
Yeah, Nick, come on the show and argue it. But I hope LeBron sees it.
He's a New York guy, right?
Who is?
Nick. Yeah, he's got to be.
You think? Well, I guess because they're first.
New York, yeah.
They're first things first. Yeah.
I was wondering, as I was talking about it, I was like, I wonder why I never watch a show, and then I realized
it happens 6 a.m.
It's like 3 a.m. our time. Yeah.
And it's also literally they saw First Take and they were like, how do we get another first in our title?
First and 2.
First.
2 first. That's Danny Ainge's podcast.
Yes.
The Sam Presti podcast.
You win the argument, because you're like, they do have 2 firsts. Yeah. So it is the first show. Yeah. Number
2
1.
first and a player. What Sam Presti, Danny Ainge podcast. 2 first and a player to be named later.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Oh, that's the name of their podcast.
Conditional picks.
Conditional pick. Yeah, 2 first and cash considerations. 2 first and an expiring.
And then people will act like they get that. They know what that's about.
Yeah, I don't know. Nick is a takesman, the like of the likes of which I will never be. So I trust he knows what he's doing. But I saw that and I was like, boy, this is. You're swimming in the deep end now.
But
you know what I mean?
Like you do that for a reason, right? What Shannon is doing is great, because Shannon is like, hey, I have Skip who's just basically slandering LeBron. I will be LeBron's shield, and I will fight. I will fight fire with fire. I get it. And also LeBron loves Shannon, you know? So, like, you get the boost of LeBron has your back also. He's feeding you information. Nick needs to have LeBron actually in his camp.
It felt to
That's
me,
the next
yeah.
step. Like, you need LeBron to also be feeding you information.
It felt to me like Nick's been playing water basketball, like pool basketball, and he's killing it. Because he's playing in like 3 foot water and he's like dunking on his kids and he's like I'm
LeBron. I'm him.
Yeah, I'm him. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. I don't give a what did he say? I don't give a what anybody says. I'm him. That was LeBron's direct quote. And he just said it to nobody in particular. He was just
everyone's like, where's this coming from?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Calm down.
Nick was doing that, and then he watched some water polo on TV, and he was like, I could do that. Like, would you just swim and throw the ball around? I do that all the time. And then he gets in the water, and he's like, wait, we got to tread water this whole time? And you got guys like dunking me under it. Yeah, that's what I think is happening here. That's what I'm worried about.
And if you touch the bottom, you're done.
Yeah,
he's not ready for that.
I'm worried about it.
And and what's worrying is that the NBA players, right? Like this is like the old heads that we're talking about, the old media. Like they want Nick Wright to put LeBron number 1, and then they're going to attack. He doesn't understand how this game works. Like the actual Illuminati of the basketball world, LeBron is not number 1. So like, you put him number 1. These people,
I think,
come at your.
Well, that's what I'm learning about new media, old media, is that new media is not a unified front. New media, they all hate each other. And
they're all jealous of each other.
They're all jealous of each other, and they're all
using each other
in the back to
passive aggressive.
Yeah, which is kind of true of old media, but at least old media will. Old media will acknowledge that. New media is like, we're revolutionary. It's like, what makes you revolutionary? It's like we rank players and eras, and like, we all hate each other.
It's like, like
son,
seen that before.
Son, sit down. I've been doing this for 60 years.
Mad Dog's like, take a seat.
Any other shout-outs?
I did want to shout out. I saw the movie Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie on Friday. Yeah, went to go see that. And I think that, I'm not saying it's a great movie by any means, but I think it's worth going to see in theaters, and you're going to have a fun time.
Print that on the poster.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I saw an IMAX, and it's like, when you're in a movie theater and, the pandemic happened, and you were like, I don't know if I'll ever get an experience again where people are reacting in a movie theater, going crazy, yelling, that whole you get to have it with Nope. It's fun.
Did you see Top Gun?
Yes. But later. I didn't see it in IMAX.
You didn't see it in the IMAX? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was what Top Gun was for me. It was like
a great IMAX experience.
This is an insane experience. Yeah.
Movies are back.
Just watching
shout out to movies.
2 dudes with gray hair high-fiving each other in a movie.
Yeah. That's.
I haven't seen that since Miracle on Ice, or Miracle is what it was called, right?
Yeah.
That movie.
That was the best.
I think that was the last time the gray hairs were high-fiving.
Let me tell you, Kurt Russell in Miracle. How did he not win an Oscar? Like, you go back and see what he did. Unbelievable.
Nope is would you classify it as a horror or horror?
I would
syllables. Or a thriller.
I think it's more of a blockbuster. I don't think it's either one of those.
Wow.
I compare Nope more to like Jaws or something like that.
Okay, now here's the follow up. Would you say Jaws is more of a horror?
It's not a horror movie. But I'm not gonna.
I enjoy Get Out. I did not watch
Earmuffs.
I did not watch Us.
Yeah, it's better than Us.
I don't know. I like when Jordan Peele said Jordan Poole. Freudian slip.
That'd be sick. Jordan Poole starts making movies.
Jordan Poole shows up at the red carpet.
Splashed.
He's at the Nope premiere and he just says, "I'm him." It's like, Jordan, what are you doing here? Why are you? You realize this is Jordan Peele. He's the one that directed this movie, and then Jordan Poole just leans in the mic. He's like, I don't give a anybody said I'm him.
Everyone's like, give this guy 3 movie picture deal. God, amazing.
When he became like our serious director,
mm-hmm.
When he did that pivot, I was like, well, we'll see where this goes, and everyone seems to enjoy Get Out. I'll watch it. And then Us came out, and I was like, oh, when you said you're a serious director, I was hoping you were gonna make like real movies and not horror movies.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a horror movie guy. I think horror movies are stupid. I think they're all stupid. Even Get Out was like pretty good, but I was like, this genre is stupid.
Yeah.
This whole genre is stupid.
Yeah.
So thrillers I can do. Horror, I'm just like, there's 2 outcomes. Either it's the dumbest movie ever and I'm not scared at all, or I'm like, wow, that was scary.
This is gonna sound.
I'm like, what? Why would you?
You'll get this.
So now I have a phobia the rest of my life. Now I have to like look behind the shower curtain before I like what?
See, I like Hitchcock, so this is kind of like.
I don't like Hitchcock.
Yeah,
not a fan. He's a plumber. He's a plumber of a movie maker. He was making movies against plumbers.
Him and Truffaut, plumbers. I think that this is like if Steven Spielberg directed like Alfred Hitchcock movie. You know what I mean? Like that's how it's like a blockbuster, but it's like trying to be a Hitchcockian,
I get you. I just don't understand like Jaws, like the everyone like exalts Jaws.
It's
a
like,
shark.
This
is the greatest summer. I don't get it. Like, no, everyone exalts it as like this is the greatest summer movie ever. It changed cinema. It changed like the summer blockbuster. It's like what it did was it made every little kid shit their pants when they jump in a pool.
Yeah.
How is that good? How is that like what we want as a society?
And then it also showed the power of a score. Like that song. It was like you hear the music, you're like, oh shit, shark.
That's not a good thing. We don't. That's the.
But it also it touched a human thing, which we're all scared of sharks.
We are.
We all are.
Yeah.
Every one of us.
But why? I guess like me as a consumer, knowing if I go into a horror movie, it's either going to be a terrible movie, and I'm going to say that was a complete waste of money, or it's going to be great at what it does, and now
scare me.
I'm going to be scared of clowns forever, or I'm going to be scared of.
Hey George, you want to float? Still terrifies me. Still terrifies.
Not for me. But So you said it's worth the
Just,
time.
If you want to go to the theater and you want to have fun, go check it out. Keke Palmer, by the way, hilarious.
I want to shout out the U.S. track situation. Sydney McLaughlin broke her own world record, right?
Yeah.
On the 400-meter hurdles, and then I saw the pole vault world record was also broken. So I don't know what the hell was going on at this track meet. But
and it was in Eugene, Oregon, Tracktown, USA.
This was the Nationals, right?
Yeah, Worlds.
Worlds?
Yeah.
Wow. Is USA track back? Because
for sure.
Are the sprinters back? I got to pay more attention because
the Jamaican women.
The Jamaican always kill us, but Usain Bolt's been retired for a while now.
But the Jamaican women killed us this year, but the American men did great. So the American men were doing well. Jamaican women were doing well. Allison Felix, this was her swan song. She came back and got the women to qualify for the 4x400. She was actually supposed to be done, but then they were like, hey, Allison, we need you to run one more race. She was like apparently having her cheat meal, and then she was like, wait a second, I have to go back. So then she flew back, qualified the team, and then Sydney McLaughlin came in and took her spot, and then they won.
So the 90s when I remember the Michael Johnson era of track and field where that was like the most electric shit ever, the Olympics.
And it was always about the shoes.
4x100, yeah.
You see the shoes, you're like, oh.
Who was the Canadian guy? Was it Ben Johnson?
Sounds right.
Was that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
That
I'll look.
I think it was Ben Johnson. That was was
Ben
that the one that Michael what's his name again? What did I just call him? Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson and Ben Johnson?
Yes.
Did they race each other?
I don't know if they raced
each other. Where's the one where Michael Johnson faked like he pulled his hamstring? Because that was devastating. That was like one of the saddest moments in American sports history, where Michael Johnson did like the one-on-one deal. Michael Johnson pulled him. I don't know. I'm gonna figure this out. I hate when I don't prepare like I'm supposed to. I didn't know we were gonna talk about that.
That was 2000 track and fields that he pulls up. Michael Johnson.
He pulled up
Sydney.
It's the Michael Johnson, Maurice Green, 2000s. Oh, Bailey. Hold on. Pulls up. Donovan Bailey's the guy I'm thinking of, the Canadian sprinter. Apologies to anyone who is listening to this.
Ben Johnson is also a Canadian.
Ben Johnson's a Canadian sprinter. Apologies to anyone listening who's like screaming at your car as you're listening to this or screaming.
Yeah, you know the answer.
They knew the answer. It took me forever to get there. Yeah, he raced against Donovan Bailey, I remember, and they did like a one-on-one deal in Toronto, it says here, in 1997 to find the world's fastest man.
And, we need more of that energy.
And then Michael Johnson, he knew he was going to lose, and he pretended to get hurt, and that was devastating. But anyway, I remember really being in a track and field back in the 90s, and Usain Bolt ruined everything. So I would love the idea of USA being back, just as a
I think they're back.
Country. So
I think they're back. At least at the Worlds they're back.
Anything else? Shout out Tour de France.
Yeah, it happened.
Jim, did your guy win? How'd your guy do?
Lance?
Your guy.
Name one other cyclist ever, Jim.
Pee Wee Herman.
It's pretty good.
Am I the only one that thinks that some of these Peloton instructors should be in the Tour de France and could get out there and win?
Well, you know what's crazy? The guy that won the Tour de France, it was his only second Tour de France ever. So like he did it one year, and then he did it the second time and he won it. And then everyone's like, is this guy a prodigy? But then he's Danish, and the Danes have a lot of doping.
Oh,
yeah. So the problem with cycling is the same problem we had with baseball in the 2000s, where it's like, I get excited,
right?
But then the doping.
But even Aaron Judge, yeah, you're like Aaron
Judge. I feel like he's the one guy you're like, I don't know, he just already is that big.
Yeah, I hear that. On the one hand, you should be excited that Aaron Judge might set a record and introduce, like, get excited about home runs again in the post-steroid era.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you look at Aaron Judge and he's 6'9", like 280, solid muscle. You're like, that's the guy that we're 100% sure. And I'm not saying Aaron Judge is on roids, but I'm just saying that dude is more jacked than any of these steroid series ever were.
He's like if Derek Jeter, like they were trying to make another Derek Jeter, you know what I mean? But they're like, just make him strong,
just make him stronger. Just turn the sliders all the way up, dude. Just turn the sliders all the way up. That's it. A shout out to the sport of football and also football. Soccer's coming back. Premier League's coming back. But also like the Hall of Fame games, like right around the corner, isn't it?
Yeah. Football's
going to be here. I'm excited about football. I'm going to say this at the end of the show where no one can hear me and none of my friends are listening anymore because they turned the show off. This is the most primed I've ever been to be convinced to get back into fantasy football, I think. Like, I'm just like so excited for football to be back that I haven't played fantasy football.
I could dabble. Yeah.
I quit fantasy football when I took Maurice Jones-Drew with the first pick, and the whole room laughed at me. And I was like, is he not the guy anymore? They're like, no, you moron. I was like, wasn't Maurice Jones-Drew like the best player?
Yeah, they're like, that was last year.
I was like, fine, give me Frank Gore. And they're like, bah! This guy's... I was like, you know what? I quit fantasy football. So it's been a long road, Tate, and I have no interest in playing fantasy football. I'm just saying that, like, I'm so excited for football.
Yeah.
That if one of my friends caught me in a moment of weakness, I might agree to join a fantasy football league. That's where I'm at. That's like how excited
I like it.
Giving you an idea of how excited I am for football to be back.
And we have the World Cup this fall. We have football and football.
Dude, the World Cup, the USA-England game is going to be happening. I think we're in Maui, right? Isn't it like
Friday, November 25th?
Oh, it's the day after
Thanksgiving.
So we'll be back from Maui.
On that day, on November 25th.
And then the next day is Ohio State-Michigan football game?
Dude,
oh my God.
That Friday, let me just tell you what that Friday is like for me. USA, obviously playing in the World Cup, going to be crazy. North Carolina plays NC State in football the same day. And North Carolina, if all things go according to plan with the PK Invitational, will be playing Villanova on the same day. So in one day, North Carolina will have those three games.
And we're coming back from Maui.
And I might be on a plane.
From Maui, yeah.
I might just be on a plane, not able to watch it.
Can't watch any of it.
That'd be good.
Do a bunch of scheduled tweets that are like, this is such a crazy day of sports.
I don't want to see it.
It doesn't say, and it doesn't say, it gives no context to anything. It just says, wow. Or terrible call.
Yeah. All I know is that if that day ends with 3 losses, I don't show up for the weekend. I'm done.
Yeah, Ohio, dude, that's some great podcast fodder. It's like we sit down because Ohio State. We're both in the same boat there. Yeah. Ohio State is in the Maui Invitational.
Mm-hmm.
So my week could be Wednesday. Ohio State's playing for the Maui Invitational Championship. Which, stop laughing, friend of the program. I know I can hear all you.
Stop
it. Stop laughing. Ohio State playing the Maui. Okay, fine. Playing for 6th place in Maui. Then Thanksgiving's the next day. Then Friday's USA, England, and then Saturday's Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah. So we should do a podcast on Sunday.
We kind of should.
We just break it all down.
And if we don't talk about any of the losses our teams had.
No, only the wins. Yeah. So if there are no wins, we just talk about how we were cheated.
If it's all losses but USA.
we were cheated.
USA draws with England again. Yeah. We just talk about how great
how many chances we had. Dominated possession.
What about shots on goal?
Yeah. Do you see the shots on target? It's 11-1.
All right. That's it. Jim, do you have any shout outs?
No.
Okay.
Nice. Jim's really excited for that weekend too.
How long did our crew take setting up that microphone? 2 weeks ago we were in studio and Jim's microphone fell down while we were in the middle of recording.
Yeah.
And out of the corner of my eye, I see everyone scrambling, putting the mic back up, and getting it all set up. So today we didn't want to have a repeat of that. We had like 8 different people look at this thing and make sure the mic stand would be secure, that everything's good.
Perfect. Yeah.
All for us to ask Jim a question. He leans in and goes, no. All that hard work just for that.
Yeah, bad question.
All right. No shout outs. We'll see you guys later this week.